Welcome to We Got a Podcast Gaming. A little one-off here where we're going to go through the Kakarot DLC for the 23rd Tenkaichi Budokai pack here that is actually not Dragon Ball Z at all, it is Dragon Ball. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. I've got a save here from where I'm at. I've cleared the game, so we're going to go back through, but we're going to play basically at a very high level. So what I want to do here today is I want to show you just some of the cutscenes, I guess all of the major fights, which I'm going to tear through quite quickly, but I'll let the enemies kind of attack me a little bit so you can see what they do. And man, I am low on health, but let's just get right into it, I say. So first thing that you'll notice here is that I'm on Nimbus, Kintone, if you will. There is no flying in this because Goku couldn't fly at the time. So let's go into add-ons. So to show you, there's the first two DLC packs, of course, Battle of the Gods and Resurrection F, the Trunks DLC, which is still the best one, I think, Kakarot, or the Bardock DLC, which was kind of poopy, and then this 23rd World Tournament stuff here. Option is currently unavailable because I'm in it. So we're going to walk over to this spot right here, and I'm going to examine it. And it wants me to return to the main story, which I don't want to do. And that dinging sound is because I activated like the little thing for collecting the orbs. We'll hit examine. So this is the whole like story. This is what all the DLC is. And we're just going to go right into it, into the prologue. I'm not going to be doing any of the... okay, so see, first of all, it says prohibited skills. I cannot take Super Dragon Assault and Limit Breaker Kamehameha because those are post-game things you can unlock. So first things first, I'm going to change my skill set here to... Geez, I don't really like some of this stuff. Solar Flare, I've only ever done on accident. The Taioken, if you will. And Super Kamehameha. So these, I think I can take into the DLC. Yes. And it's going to tell me that, well, I guess it didn't tell me, but I'm switching to Kid Goku here. And we're just going to go through. So, like I said, I'm going to show some of the cutscenes off. I'm going to be fast-forwarding through any of the dialogue boxes that show up. But scenes like this, I'll let play. So, as you may know from the latest trailer that came out, you can play against the fight against the Demon King Piccolo, which is cool that they say here in the text Demon King Piccolo. I didn't notice that the first time because all the times in the anime they're always like just King Piccolo because it's Piccolo Daimao or Great Demon King Piccolo. But I believe the Funimation dub totally dropped the demon from that and it was just like King Piccolo. That's something that throughout this DLC is that this DLC is adhering to a dub from 20 years ago and like dub terminology from 20 years ago. So there's Mercenary Tao, Cyborg Tao, and because they are calling Suru Senin Master Shen, that when you have Shen who shows up, Kami shows up as Shen, they have to call him Hero because they've already been using Shen. There's actually an explanation. I don't remember how it was in the dub back then. There's an explanation for why he's called Hero here, that they have to do some dancing around, I'm sure. The localization, I think, of Bandai Namco games, or Bandai Namco Dragon Ball games, is not great. Fighters had some big issues with the way that, like, there's a whole thing where Yamcha says, like, oh, in Japanese, it says something like, oh, I'm like, pray to God or something, and Piccolo's like, you know, God is Dende, right? And then the English localization had nothing to do, they just, like, invented something for Yamcha to be saying there. And so, unfortunately, when we've been doing, like, a lot of wiki work, there have been points where I cannot just trust that what I'm reading from Bandai Namco is real. I mean, it's real to the English version that I'm looking at, but like, is it an accurate representation of what is being said in Japanese? And most likely it is, but I can't just assume that it's correct. I really have to assume the worst. No benefit of the doubt when it comes to Bandai Namco US. So Demon King Piccolo again, you see there. This DLC is so cool. So, alright, so these are ground battles, and it's going to pop up and tell me. So the basic controls here, it's pretty much the same as was before. So some of the differences here, and I can just let Piccolo hit me a little bit. Like, you'll see how little, it did no damage at all. So I can just kind of show you. So, again, I'm on ground now, so there's no flight. And, I mean, I'm not going to hit him because he'll die in one hit. And then on the left, you see fight. So circle, that's just your melee stuff. Oh, I almost hit him by accident. And then I've got shockwave. So I guess I never really thought about it, but back in like pre-Dragon Ball Z stuff, Goku never really shot ki blasts a whole lot. Like, if I'm wrong, let me know. I'm trying to think of a time when he would have shot a ki blast or not. But anyways, he has the shockwave ability is something that he uses. I forget what it's called in Japanese, but it does translate out to shockwave that he uses against Chi-Chi in the tournament, and you'll actually see that in a cutscene here. So instead of ki blast, you do have shockwave. Functionally, it's the same, and you do have your Kamehameha and stuff, so let him go. So super attacks, you hold L1, you see Kamehameha, punching rushdown, spinning staff strike, and rock, paper, scissors, paper, rock, which is like, is rock, paper, scissors copywritten? Like, can they not call it that? I wonder. So he's kind of running around, and I think, so you press L3, and because, like, there's no flying, right, you can get pretty far, so, like, that's what Piccolo's doing. So if you press L3, and you kind of go like that, and then, see, I'm just going to tear through him. We'll do scissors, paper, rock, rock. So, again, like I told you, this is going to be pretty much a one-hit thing. Except I think it's got, it wants to let some of the story go through. I'll just block against that. When you first start this DLC, you are also level 5, so you and Piccolo are the same level. And then they also give you this, well, I can't do it now because he's, there's Shockwave. That's what Shockwave looks like, and that killed him. So, we got a cutscene coming up here. The fact that they have created a Kid Goku for this makes me think that maybe there are plans to do up through Piccolo in the future. They've got the base, I mean, it's create another character. I also just noticed that Tenshinhan has his purple pants on here. And I can really put the controller down for a while. There's going to be some cutscenes that play here. I don't know how much of this game has been shown in Japanese, but there's been a lot of discourse about the dub performance of Colleen Clinkenbeard as Kid Goku. And yeah, I don't think it works. I think Stephanie Nadolny is fine as Kid Goku. I think she's appropriately, like, hickish. But I don't care. Colleen Clinkenbeard is a little too clean of a speaker for this role specifically. I think she's fine as Gohan, because Gohan is much more like this, and that's not really Goku's jive, what he's about. So for that performance, you really need someone who's just kind of gonna play it a little bit looser, and I think Stephanie Nadolny does a great job with that. At least like the speech quality for the character. But it's no secret I did not play this game in English or dubbed. When I played Kakarot the first time, I played it on PC, and I did play it in English because I found Masako Nozawa's crying young Gohan, and there's a lot of it in the early part of the game. I found it unbearable, so I did switch to English, and then I just kind of left it on. Then when I played it again on PS4, I played it in Japanese all the way through. So the base game I have played pretty much all the way through in English and in Japanese. One thing that you know, like when people talk about Dragon Ball Z Kai and the dub performance, or not dub, the Japanese performances in Kai, you hear like, oh, God, what's his name? The guy who plays Cell, Wakamoto. You hear like how he phoned in his performance as Cell, or maybe I'm blanking on like every actor's name right now, but it's like, oh, someone didn't really give their all like they did in the original series. And maybe that's because they've had to record a lot of these lines over and over and over, as every game has been like Raditz Debut, Raditz Debut, Raditz Debut, Raditz Debut. So you can only have energy to do this line so many times. But this content is something that I don't think has ever really been covered again, at least in a capacity where there would be a voice for it. Okay, so this is something where when there's text like this, I'm just going to fast forward through it. I would still recommend playing this DLC yourself. I'm not going to do any of the sub stories or anything, so there's still a lot of content here that I think you're not going to be able to get just from me, and that I think you should play. You should play this for yourself. You should play Kakarot on its own for yourself. I think Kakarot is legitimately one of the best Dragon Ball games of all time. I hesitate to say the best because I really have such a soft spot in my heart for Budokai 3. Launches... Jeez. It's written as Launch, and so it infected my brain. Launch's actress here, you can really hear the age in her voice. But again, if I want to say, I have never seen the original Dragon Ball in Japanese. I really don't have a lot of desire to rewatch it. I'll reread it, but to rewatch it, I don't know. Maybe that recut project. So my exposure to Launch in Japanese is limited, admittedly. So what I was saying about the performances in this game are really quite good, I think, because these actors haven't really ever explored this part of the story again at this level. Especially Nozawa as Goku, I think here just absolutely slays it. I mean, Nozawa, I don't think she can do like crying Kid Gohan anymore. I think her ability to do that is gone, but she still sounds amazing as Goku at this age here. She really is such a treasure. You see a lot of Tien Shinhan here, which is when in Dragon Ball Z, I don't know if they ever used Tien Shinhan, or add the Shinhan in there in the dub, but they use it quite frequently in Dragon Ball, the dub. And so, of course, this reflects it, even though in the base game, there was probably a case or two where they used Tien Shinhan in Kakarot, but here, it's everywhere. Tien Shinhan this, Tien Shinhan that, because that's how it was. There's just a strange adherence to a dub that maybe a lot of people don't even remember, just because, I mean, the exposure to Dragon Ball Z is so much greater. So I think they really had a chance here to be like, you know what, forget Master Shen, forget Hero, because they're using Demon King Piccolo. So it's, I don't know. I also love the way all of the models are distinctly Kakarot, but they have all been redone to be slightly more to the art style that was used in these 2013 Kaiichi Budokai episodes. The models on model for that era. And even the way that when you pull up the Z encyclopedia in this, if you like switch between Ten Shinhan during Z and Ten Shinhan during this part, and you switch real quick, like even the shading for this DLC is different. It's less harsh, it's a lot softer. The bloom and shininess of everything is greatly reduced. It's just a cool look that really sets it apart from the rest of the game and even the rest of the DLC. Or the other DLCs, I should say.
悟空、お前もまだなんだろ。さっさと済ましちまおうぜ。
I'm gonna check something here. Is this coming through 60? Okay, it is. Also, this I love. I think I messed up my Elgato by going into the settings. Yeah, I did. Cool. Well, see, like I said, you're gonna have to play the DLC. So, you just gotta... Look, anything can happen here. Anything can happen on a Detective X stream. Did I mention I'm Ken, by the way? So you can talk to these guys. If you want to talk to them, play the DLC. We're just going to go straight into things here. Straight into the story. Sign up to fight. So, when you beat the game, and the main game is like this as well as all of the DLCs have had the ability that when you beat the game, you can go back and replay. You can replay the story at whatever level you're at, and so if you miss something, or in my case, grind, if you want to grind for Z orbs. So, we'll introduce to Chi-Chi here. Anonymous. So if you want to replay this stuff, or get something you may have missed, side quests or whatever, you can do that easily. That was actually not at release. You did not have that capability. I think it was the first major patch they did. They added in the ability to time travel and go back in. This DLC does have a considerable amount of new musics, including a mystical adventure, Makakushigi adventure kind of remix, much in the way that Bardock had a new Solid State Scouter, and I don't know if Trunks had anything new. I don't know if there were like any iconic enough Trunks tracks to kind of like remix. So don't get too excited thinking that we're going to get to play through every one of those fights, or even see every one of those fights, unfortunately. I think that Bardock was the first DLC to just start using anime screenshots like this. This one does do it as well. It's unfortunate, especially considering how this DLC is more expensive than the first one. This DLC pack of this set, I would say, with 3, was like $40. I think the first one, there's also a lot less to do in the first one. Okay, so we're here on Papaya Island, which is a location you can go to in the main game, of course, because we do have to go to the tournament during the Boo arc. Like I said, we have Kintoon here, so this is the tournament grounds. I'll just kind of show you around real quick. Mountain. So the bulk of the main part of this game is strictly here at Pi Island, here at the tournament. So we'll just kind of go here. There's some like vendors here that have different goodies and treats. I never figured out what I was supposed to do with those. And then there's something you see there. Uh-oh, I lost my meal ticket. There's something you can do here where you can go and get meals, and realistically, you do not have to do that at all. You don't even have to think about it. So we're looking on the map. Okay, so let's talk to Kuririn. Head to the main battle. Yeah, everything's okay now. So again, we've only done one fight. There are some kind of like There's some guys you can go fight if you want to, but you really get such minimal experience from them that, like the meal ticket thing, it's just not worth doing. It's just play the game. Okay, so here's the part of this playthrough where I give you a little bit of PSA. Save manually here. Okay? If you do not save manually, once you start what we're about to start here, it will drop an automatic save in there, meaning if you don't beat this fight, you cannot advance the DLC, and it is the hardest fight, not just in this DLC, but in the game altogether. So I said I wasn't going to do any of the side stuff, but why is it not letting me? Okay, so interesting. It's not letting me do this. So, yes. Okay, and I'm gonna hit, you can see me hit X. And it just went out. So, if you want to see the Crane School Chronicles, get the DLC. It's pretty good. Alright, so let's go talk to Announcer Kun. Start the main event. So, what you would do there is you would do a fight. It's a flashback fight for Ten Shinhan when he was younger and still wanting to be an assassin. And you really start to see his first turnover of like, oh, maybe I don't need to be an assassin. Oh, wow. Okay, so I'm still level 12 here, huh? Okay. So this is going to be a real fight. Do I have my items? I do, but it won't let me use them. Interesting. Okay, so like, I actually need to think here. You gotta be careful with Pai here because he's so tricky. So fast too. Okay, so it's interesting that like okay. Yeah, okay, so this is like a real fight. Yeah, so this is basically, you do this fight in the Kishinon Crane School Chronicles or whatever, but it's much harder than this. I don't know why he wasn't even moving it. Let's try to get out of his range. Okay. So this is like what makes that other stuff so hard. Okay, finished. Alright. Alright, so it did not let me be the level 2000 or whatever I was as Goku earlier, so and it will level me up. So if I ever do this again, I will be a much stronger Ten Shinhan for that. Well, one level stronger. Again, I'm going to let all of these types of cutscenes play.
チャオズにしたことは忘れます。もうやめてください。私はあなたが考えているより強くなりすぎてしまったのです。
ふざけるな。
私に戦い方を教えてくださったのは
I
鶴
think
仙人様とあなたです。
Cyborg
無様
Pai
な負け
Pai
方を
is
させ
in
た
the
くあり
main
ません。
game.
退場
I
してく
know
ださ
for
い。
sure Surusenin is, but
この私をコケにするか。ああ、反則です。武器の使用は固く禁じられております。この勝負、天津飯選手の勝ち。
now the rest of this tournament
もう
is
試合などどうでもよ
Goku.
い。
And so everyone will be like a one-hit kill.
武道家としての誇りもなくしてしまったのですか。
偉くなったもんだな。せいぜい補佐がいい。その口も今に聞けなくなる。とっておきの兵器スーパードドンパで貴様は死ぬのだからな。
This video will be out before we record for the Kanzenshu podcast.
セットしたぞ。
But Randy and I will be joining Mike to record our thoughts and review of this DLC. So look forward to that on Kanzenshu, the podcast, where all finest podcasts are found. Be like a little, well, if Doug would play this game, he would be on too, I'm sure, but be a little crossover there. Although Randy and I have been doing before even, I think We Got a Podcast existed maybe, and definitely, certainly before I joined We Got a Podcast, Randy and I had been joining Mike for these Kakarot DLC reviews. And I have been much more positive on this game than either of them, but I really do love this game. But I love things that you can tell when they're made how much love was put into them. So I think that's why I love this so much, because this is a game crafted with love. Absolute
数日は
soul,
目が覚めないでしょう。
not a soulless bone in this game's body.
そして二度と我々の前に姿を現さないでください。
And that's
お願いします。
We Got a Fact.
おい知らずめ。貴様、ろくな死に方はせんぞ。
やったな。
ああ、
I would say of all the models, Yamcha's is probably the one that looks the most like it does in the base game. The game is a good bit louder than I am, is it? All right. Well, that's been taken care of now. Fantastic. I love streaming, Randy, in chat. I don't love it. And I don't love it because you can never, levels are never, I tested the levels before I even went live. So, I don't know. As long as you can hear me, you get the point. Okay, so we're just going to jump right into this again. You want to do the other stuff? Check out the DLC. Streaming is so frustrating. I do not envy people who do it for a living. Maybe I'll do a little bit. So you don't do this fight at all. This fight is entirely a cutscene. And it's such a one-sided fight that I guess this is just one of those things that how could you have done it otherwise? However, having said that, it is a great cutscene. I really, Randy, how was the game louder than I was? I tested before I went live. So, wow, that's crazy. That is so frustrating. It's, man, you can never trust, like, looking at levels. You can never trust it. This is so great. I love this cutscene.
約束ってオラがおめえとなんて約束したんだ。オラのことお嫁にもらってくれるって。お嫁。今頃やっと思い出したようだべ。クリリン、お嫁ってなんだ？教えてくれ。バカ野郎、お嫁にもらうってのは結婚するってことだよ。
夫婦になってずーっと一緒に暮らすんだぞ。悟空。
See, when I'm talking about like Bandai Namco localization, I find that line from Kuririn about your life is over to be extremely suspect. I just cannot trust that that's the line that was said in Japanese. And so, when we've been doing wiki work and covering stuff that's in this game for the Kanzenshuu wiki, I have to go in and find Japanese gameplay videos and look at what is being said there. And that even goes down to like character names, because sometimes the character names are just all over the place. There's a character in the base game called Suika, and they call him Melon. So there's just like, why? Just call him Suika. And then there was a character in the Frieza DLC. And then there was a character in the Bardock DLC that paid special attention to. There's also like a Namekian child who could eat food in the base game, who we had to do some research on and make sure. So this is just not it's not trustworthy, unfortunately. Again, 240p anime cutscenes, anime screenshots. I think the least they could have done here is do like a Kai style redraw over it. Now, this is still more accurate than the Dragon Ball dub itself during this part, or Goku's like, well, if the heart wants what the heart wants. Anyway, he makes it sweeter than what was the original. Would I have the technical know-how for having two commentators during a stream? Yes, it would just have to open up Discord for that. However, that brings in another audio level, and unless people are watching and being like, okay, turn this person up higher, the game lower, this, that, and it's like impossible to manage that kind of thing. But I do know how to do it. It's just audio levels suck. So this is you don't even get to see this fight at all. This would have, Piccolo's playable in the base game, so this would have been a perfect opportunity to play as Piccolo and fight Kuririn. Yamcha is playable, not really. Can be like your sidekick assist fighter, but he does not have his own particular moveset. Same thing with Tenshinhan before this. Tenshinhan, they gave him playable feature for this game, and they would have had to have done that again for Yamcha for this one fight, which is like, yeah, the Tenshinhan thing is 2 fights. They gave him a moveset. So, there's some corners cut in this DLC. Yeah, let's fast forward to this. Okay, so it took me back to the present here. So that was the end of episode 1, believe it or not. So now we're going to go here, and we're going to begin episode 2. So you see here, of this whole thing, episode 1 is Goku versus Demon King Piccolo. There's nothing in here. This is the Crane School Chronicles that I didn't show you because the game wouldn't let me. This is the versus Cyborg Tao Pai Pai. And that was it for episode 1. Those 3 fights. The second fight being the hardest fight in the whole freaking game. Okay. Semifinals are about to begin. So let's do this. This is another short series of short fights. But there are some cool cutscenes. Okay, so now you get to see this thing in full effect. I hope earlier with the audio levels you could at least hear what I was saying. I'm gonna be so upset when I look back on this footage. And that's why We Got a Podcast Gaming is gonna be few and far between because audio. Alright, fast forward through this guy. Anything that's like this, again, I'm fast forwarding through. Same thing as before. I'll let him kind of hit me for a little bit so you can see. So you can see what the flow of the fight is like. You can't do any real damage against me. There's just such a gulf between our two powers. So I'll just show you how he fights, which is kind of like how I fight. So they added some stuff in here for the tournament. They added in like a ring out system, and they added in like down for the count type stuff. But I never encountered the down for the count thing, and I have only ever wrung someone out once. You can actually dodge that if you're fast enough. You can dodge the solar flare. So just oh, he dodged it. So, you know, he's got to have like his moment where he goes to like super tension on. But again, I'll just one shot him. So, of course, as you remember from having read the series, there are 2 phases to this fight. Goku's like, well, hold on, it's getting a little hard to move around. So let me take off this weighted clothing here. You know, it's a shame we never see Tenshinhan like get any big costume changes before Super in the Buu arc, technically. Hold the block, you don't get stunned, but Taio can either. Oh, really? One thing I definitely was not doing enough when playing this game was holding block button. I was not doing that enough at all. Where's my phone? Well, this cutscene is playing. I'm gonna actually listen back to the stream. So I want to know that I could hear myself.
悪いなクリリン。気ぃつけろよ。
Oh, Randy, I was not that washed out by the dialogue.
なんだよこりゃ。お前これって普通の重さじゃねえぞ。だろ。片っぽだけで20キロ。
Okay, you can hear me. You can hear me.
足がだるくなっちゃってさ。
That's fine.
いっしょと。
I will agree the game was too loud, but I was not being.
全部で100キロ以上は
It was not that bad.
なんと驚きました。孫選手、これまでは重い。
That's fine. No, I mean I agree. It was too loud, but I in my head I was imagining much worse. So
いやはや、言葉が出ません。
there's a great stream, Randy, on your YouTube channel where you're playing Legends, and you just cannot hear you over the in-game audio at all. And I was hoping that that was not what was happening to me.
いいだろう。お前がその気なら、俺もとっておきの必殺技を披露するまで。
Legendary indeed.
一体どんなんだ。
The legend.
お前がいくら身軽になったとて、12の目から逃れられるかな。
12の目。
指針の剣。
I really love how crisp the lines are in this game, the line art especially. And I think that was something I noticed with the PS5 version in particular, that the outlines are just a lot more crisp than and smooth than they were on the PS4 version.
みんな本物だ。
その通りだ。
I think we talked about that with the when we did the Bardock stuff, because that was when the new version DLC came out.
やっぱおめえはすんげえよ。目の天下一武道会からずっと強くなってる。ほらワクワクが止まんねえぞ。
I really like this new track. All the new music, I think, in this pack specifically is fantastic.
そうはいかねえぞ。確かにおめえの技に
I almost died in this fight the first time. I mean, now I'm just gonna be like whatever, but the first time playing this, I almost died in this fight.
お前か俺か。どちらが上かはっきりさせるぞ。
Because Tin Shin Han is kind of a tricky fighter, the way that Tao Pai Pai is as well.
この指針の剣を破れる者はい
So
な
I'll
い。
just kind of show you what you're up against here
悪いが、あっという間に
with the
決め
four
さ
of
せて
them
も
who
らう
are literally doing nothing. There we go.
何や終わらねえさ。
So, you know, you've got them doing all these Dodon Pas and Hikohos all over the place. You know, I just really love the flow of how this game looks and feels when you're playing. Like, the way Goku, like, teleports to the side and then, like, the way he slides into it. The animations are just so nice. So. Oh. So. Again, they all do have a lot less health, but they are still pretty menacing in their attacks. Yep. Done. So this is now going to take us to the final fight of the game. Now, I did talk earlier about how we're going to be skipping sub-stories in this. Sub-story singular. There is only one sub-story that takes place during the tournament, but then after the tournament, there are a few little things to do that are pretty cute and fun. And we'll cover all of that and more on the Kanzenshu podcast. Again, what I want to do is I just want to go through the game, show off these cutscenes. Everything else, just play the game yourself. This DLC is great. Well, I don't know if I'd say it's great. It's weird because it's certainly a step up above Bardock, but I think I need some time away from it before I really make that final call. There's a ton of love and care in this DLC.
おめえらしくねえ疾病だったな。4人になったのがすんげえ作戦だったけどさ。1人の力4人に分けたから、攻撃も守りもスピードも全部4分の1の力になっちゃったもんな。
まさかこうもあっさりと見破られるとはな。乾杯だ。 武空術を使う暇もなかったぜ。
どうも。場外です。天津飯選手、まさかの場外負け。孫悟空選手、決勝戦への進出が決定。
Now, Randy, what I need to look at is see in OBS if there is some sort of like a plugin someone has made to do like automatic audio leveling. So that like the game could be loud, but if I start talking, then it decreases the game audio and then pulls it back up when I'm done talking. I bet that exists. That has to exist. Like when it detects levels from me, pull down the game audio.
見直しただろう。
惜しかったな。
I've downloaded plugins that do crazier stuff than that.
惜
Yeah.
しくないさ。はっきり言ってあいつの強さは桁違いだ。まさかここまで腕を上げているとはな。
さて
So I'm gonna go have a talk with Shen, who is secretly Kami. Spoilers.
神様。
孫か。
I don't like that they showed off Goku versus Demon King Piccolo.
気がつく。
I think that would have been such a rad thing to boot the game up and see for itself, but it's in the marketing materials at the very last second. Like, you could have just held out. Okay, here comes for a cool cutscene. Again, this could have been a fight, at least like have a little bit of a fight, and then go into it. I like that this does the Namekian on screen, like in the anime, but also in the manga as well. I wonder how much thought was put into this language, or if this is the kind of thing where Toriyama looked at his assistant and said, like, "You do this. You come up with these symbols."
シェン選手、何やら激しく言い合っておりますが、さっぱり言葉がわかりません。聞いたこともない言葉です。このピッコロ様を退治だと、貴様血迷ったか。
One thing I've always loved about Dragon Ball, you know, is many things, but how the tournament announcer has been kind of like always on Goku and friend's side, and just even the part where he's so casual and nonchalant about seeing Piccolo again during the 25th tournament that he's just like, hey, try not to blow up the ring this time. He doesn't take everything too seriously. He's just a consummate professional. We do not see the announcer in Super, no, unfortunately. I think maybe if Super was good, they could have, like, found a way to bring him in to announce for the Tournament of Power, which could have been cool. And instead of cutting to every other universe for, like, their reactions to stuff, it could have been the tournament announcer carrying that. It's, yeah, man. Hey, did you read the new chapter of Super, though, Randy? It was, I thought it was great. Toyotaro is starting to have fun, and you can feel it. Oh, yeah, it is today. Also, a new chapter of Boruto out as well. Boruto is back from its hiatus. So that was a neat cutscene. Fast forward through these parts. You see Piccolo doing a little fast walk, eating a bottle. I think Goku's characterization during this arc was such a fun, like, trajectory for the character that I'm not entirely convinced the rest of the series follows up on. Maybe like when he first arrives on Namek, there's some of that energy, but he felt so like, yeah, he was on the path to becoming the new god in this way. Such a calm way about him. Like I said about the models being changed, Piccolo's got a different model to capture his look from this part of the series. So, this first fight with Piccolo, I'll just kind of show off how he's going to behave. Like I said, unfortunately, you do not play as him. I think I'll either one-hit him or two-hit him here, so I want to let this go for a little bit. So he has the attacks that Demon King Piccolo has, but you do not have these in the base game. It's funny, and I only just realized this now, how much this part feels like the Ultimate Ninja games. The Ninja Storm games. Because your ground combat and, you know, CC2, CyberConnect 2 made these games. Okay, so one hit, two hit, there you go. So now on to, what's the next part of this fight? That's right, Big Piccolo. But they morph the models. They do like what Fighters does here, where they change the models to look like a specific panel or a specific cell art. And you'll see that later when Goku does like the gut punch to Piccolo. They just warp the model completely to match more what that scene looked like in the original. It's such a nice game. Yeah, CC2 just really understands how to capture the energy of a flashy series correctly. I'd say that applies to both this and Naruto, and I guess Boruto at this point as well. So if you were wondering, we do have Piccolo's Nabi knees here. What's Bulma's new actor's name? She's really great. She does a great job at capturing that performance. Yeah, Hisakawa. It must have been fun for Furukawa to play this Piccolo again. Because, like I said earlier, this part of the series is not something that the actors have done to death like Raditz Taboo. You ever feel like you get an air bubble stuck under your eyelid? Just had that. When you were a kid, did you ever like flip your eyelid inside out to like gross people out in school? Maybe I did that one too many times.
その方がオラも叩けやすい。
わかった。ゴミどもが散って静かになったぜ。
言っとくが、おめえなんかに天下は取らせねえかんな。
そういう自信にあふれたセリフは次の技を見てから言うんだったな。いよいよこれで貴様の最後が見えてきたな。
でっけえ。
死ねえ。
Okay, so this is going to tell me to attack the feet so that I can attack his head at some point. But you really don't need to do that at all. You just attack his feet. He's really slow and cumbersome, and he can't... you just play this smart, he can't really attack you. So I want to get him to provoke him to do some of his attacks here, just so you can see them. I can switch which foot I'm looking at. Okay. Now, I will say that the downside to playing this game in Japanese is that there is so much dialogue during the fights, and I'm trying to pay attention to the movements of my opponent, so I really don't ever get a chance to look at the subtitles during fights. And so I think that's one case where I think it might be worth just to play the dub the first time if you're interested. So you see how hard it is to get hit by him. He really is hilariously slow. Okay. So that's that fight. Which leads us into the final fight of the DLC's story. Even stronger.
それぐらいの大きさだったら怖くなんかねえさ。もっともっとでっけんだったらやべえけんどな。
The cool thing about these DLCs is that they are designed that you can play them right from the get-go. So you could, in theory, play Kakarot for the first time, start with this DLC, and then go into the main game. I think you can do that. You may have to at least like start the main game, get to a point, but then right away you can go straight into the DLCs. The only DLC that connects back to the main game is the Trunks. So, that's not true. The Battle of Gods and Resurrection F DLC connect back in, so you can get training and stuff, and you can unlock different forms early by doing those. But the Trunks DLC, which is like the first story-based DLC, you can unlock new abilities and transformations for Trunks that you can send back into the main game. Whereas with Bardock and with this, they really are isolated. There is no connecting the two games.
そうか。私は魔風馬を跳ね返されて。神様ですな。悟空のやつが見事な作戦であなたを救出したのです。悟空が
Now, it is advantageous to play the main game because you unlock a lot of the soul emblems that you can build out your community board. and those give you like more healing from items. You get better orbs and items from battles. It's advantageous to do that, and that you can use in these DLCs, but you don't have to. As long as you can make your way through that Tao Pai Pai fight in the beginning. Yeah, so you just need to get far enough to get to the start menu, yeah. Though you never know, they could update that at some point. I would not be surprised if they go back and, like, let's say Season Pass number 3 is all original Dragon Ball stuff. At that point, I think it would be cool to add in a patch to be like, play the game chronologically. I think that would be a really interesting way to do it. And then you could get, I mean, whatever super ultra ultimate version of Kakarot down the line, and then play through all 42 volumes. Rumor is the next DLC pack is going to be End of Z, which scope-wise, you know, End of Z is really just, what, like 2 fights? Pawn versus whatever's Mo Keppo or whatever, and then Goku versus Oob. So I'm not, that feels like, what else would you do with that? So maybe it would be End of Z Plus, which would be interesting because then it would be the first time we've gone beyond Z in quite a while. This DLC, in its defense, does not skimp on the cutscenes. We've been going for an hour now, pretty much just doing cutscenes. There was that one pretty lengthy Cyborg Tao Pai Pai fight because my Tenshinhan was under-leveled, or appropriately leveled for that fight. But other than that, I've just been 1-hit, 2-hit, 3-hit killing these guys. And we're just watching cutscenes. Alright, so this is the final fight of the story. Dragon Ball ends here. There's no Raditz. So, you see he's getting a little bit more fierce with me. He's doing this thing. And I guess one thing Kakarot is really good at is drawing like thematic connections between parts of the story. And so to have the game end, this DLC end here on a fight that mirrors the fight with Demon King Piccolo was a really smart move. I think the people who make this game really understand the series and the characters. And so to be able to remix this stuff in a loving way, they're just fantastic. Oh, he can do a grab thing. So really, as long as you're not standing in the red circles, you do not have to move for this fight. And I'll see if I can get him to grab me. I can show you what that looks like. Oop. And maybe he'll grab me after this. He might break out of his boost, yeah, so. And then he's going to do his charge up attack. So this is the end. All you have to do is... Actually, you know what? I've never seen him do this, so I'm going to let this play. No, I could just beat him with one Kamehameha, but I want to see what happens if he does it. If it game overs me. And he doesn't. Okay. Well, that's cool. I've never seen that. Oh, so he just does it again. Okay. Cool. So you're about to see what I mean about mirroring the original series here. You can tell they're warping the models to fit the look. Like there. And here it comes. There it is. Perfect. Wonderful. 10 out of 10. In engine and not pre-rendered, yeah. And it's kind of weird because the whole game, all of the cutscenes really, you could have had be in engine, unless they're trying to save the Switch version from exploding. So when you're playing this game, if you're doing like the end game or post game grind, you're going to be doing this fight a lot just because you get so many Z orbs from it, which you need for upgrading your techniques and attacks and stuff. Yeah, I think it's they have to do these pre-rendered because they have to consider the Switch audience. And I know it took a while for this game to come out on Switch, but that was probably something they were always considering. I mean, they would have to, given how big the Switch is in Japan. And here, too. I'm sure this game sold very well on Switch. Also, white blood. What's a series where it's like people have the white blood? What am I thinking of? They're like robot people. They have white blood or something. Am I thinking of Alien? I might be. I do want to go back through these cutscenes and watch them in English dub. I am curious as to Schemmel performing this level of Goku and seeing Sabbat have another crack at young Piccolo like this. I think could be fun. You guys, Goku's dead. Now, one thing I do kind of wish you could do is in the post game you could fly. I wish you could do that. Because this is where you learn Goku can Bukujutsu his way around.
ったぞ。シェン
Duh.
ロンといえど、これではもう復活はさせられまい。勝ったろ。孫悟空は死んだ。恐怖に満ちた魔の世界を復活できるのだ。そんな。
I don't think that line performance fits the energy of the motion he's making.
ついでに貴様たちも始末をしてやる。あの世で孫悟空と対面するんだな。なんだと？くそなんじゃクリリン。天津飯さん、あんた目がいいだろ。
Oh, it is pretty beat up, yeah.
あれ、ひょっとして。やっぱり悟空だ。なんと武空術だ。おめえの負けだ。
It's always great when the main theme kicks in.
あいつ場外に落ちただろ。シエさん、おら勝ったよな。
そういえば確かにここは場外。孫選手の勝ちです。
You have it. He finally won.
天下一武道会優勝。
やりー。
I really do think that if this moment had happened in the modern era, Goku winning the 23rd tournament probably would have, like, broken the internet. Everyone would have been so hype about it. It would have been the kind of thing where you'd see the footage from, like, some bar in Mexico and they're showing it up, like, on the big TV and everyone's, you know, chanting Goku and everything, like what happened with in Super.
大丈夫け、悟空さん。あんまし
But unfortunately,
大丈夫じゃねえ。
this part of the series happened in the 80s. So,
心配無用だにゃ。
definitely
おいら
before
先頭を持ってき
the
てやった
digital
ぞ。
age.
あ、お前は。やじろべえ。なんでここに。
Or at the beginning of the digital age, perhaps.
ちょっと様子を見に寄っただけ
The
だわ。
information age.
そしたら急に爆発してまうもんだで、とっさに隠れて、でそんなことはどうでもええでしょう。ほら、け。
Yeah, the DLC doesn't cover Yajirobe entering the tournament in that, like, wrestler's outfit or anything. Just says that he had been defeated.
天下一武道会で優勝したぞ。
なんと。
やべ。
Now, did Popo tell Goku about
こっちのセリフだよ、神様。
the Kami and Dragon Ball's
で
connection?
何をする気だったんだ。
Because Goku makes kind of a leap in knowledge here on his own. So I think, is that the lore? Is that Popo told him about it? Or all of this?
私だけを復活させてくれればよい。
神様が嘘をついてもいいんか。
That must have been the case.
ドラゴンボールとシェンロンはもともと神様が作ったんだろ。
Yeah, I mean, to me, this is just such like a nonsensical thing
ドラゴンボールとかも消えてな
for
くなってん
Goku
じゃね
to
え
assume
か。
and to have it be
それは
fact.
本当ですかな。
So it has to be something Popo said at one point.
この私なんぞ、もうとうの昔に神を
And I don't know if that's official lore or not.
ピッコロなどという恐ろしい悪を生み、
Like, if I'm remembering something that I have read, or if I just have always assumed that to be the case. But it would have to have been. There's no way Goku could make that. That's like requires such an understanding of the magic behind Dragon Balls that I don't. There's no way he would know that. So they actually do like a little bit of processing on these shots. But those ones earlier on, they didn't do anything on. You can see the pixels all day long.
ちょっとエッチだけんどな。
I'm not against them using anime screenshots like that, but they probably should have done more processing on them, like given them like a watercolor filter or something, just to hide the fact that Toei has taken such poor care of its property that that is the highest resolution they can work with officially in the country of Japan. France on the other. Dude, wait for the France AB group mod of this game, dude. It replaces all the screenshots. So after this, Goku and Piccolo team up to fight Raditz, of course. And then Piccolo and Goku are not face to face again until Goku arrives as Vegeta is dying, having fought Frieza. That is the next time that Goku and Piccolo are face to face after Raditz, which is crazy to think about. So they see each other here, then they see each other again for about an hour, and then after that, they do not see each other again until Goku is going to go Super Saiyan. Really makes you think? The way that this DLC handles all the Chi-Chi stuff, I think, is really cute. This is always something I forget, that Kami gives Piccolo, or gives Goku this choice. I think my reaction is basically Goku's. So I just always forget about it. It's so outlandish of a request. I'm gonna skip the credits when those come up. I mean, we're in the credits right now, but like the credits, I'll skip those. So like I said, we're going to be doing a podcast recording for Kanzenshuu. Randy and I will be joining Mike to talk about our thoughts on this DLC and review it in a kind of a more official capacity. I do have more stuff to say than I have been covering here. But at the end of the day, I do think this DLC is markedly better than the Bardock one. And I do think this game as a whole is a freaking fantastic way to experience at least Dragon Ball Z again. So this is just the new Makafushigi remix, and it's just going to be showing all the cutscenes, which we have just watched. So I'll skip the movie. And then this is the final cutscene of the game, which is, to me, just like a perfect little end cap. And there you have it. And now you get to see the game freak out as it goes back goes back to the main game. So it loads like part of the world, and then it's going to load a little bit more and then flash in. There it goes. And then it's going to tell me I've returned to the present. But every time it does that little lag, I fear the game has crashed. So there are sub-stories you can do. I have already done all of them. And they are... they do limit you to 3 areas that you can go to in the post-game, which is West City area, Goku's house area, and Papaya Island. So, check out the DLC. It's $40 for the whole pack. I don't know how much it is individually. Probably like 15 each, I would guess. Randy, thanks for jumping in and telling me that my audio is wonky in the beginning. That's going to do it here for me today on We Gotta Podcast Gaming. Not going to be a regular thing, but every once in a while we might pop in and it's not a gaming channel, so we might pop in rare occasion, show off maybe a new game that's come out or maybe an old favorite. But that's going to do it for me here today, and thanks for watching.